Hi, everybody. This is Nathan here once again. I hope you are doing well and everything is okay by you. In this video, I want to really share something phenomenal with you. Have you ever gotten to the stage when you feel really burnout? You feel, no, I've had it. This is it for me. I'm quitting. Maybe your business, maybe you are giving up on your health, maybe on your marriage, or you feel you've done everything that there is to be done. And for that matter, you think there are no more alternatives. And for that matter, you want to call it quits. Now, what I want you to know is that brownouts do not need to have to be burnout. Now, when you are brown out, it means that you are tired, you are exhausted, you are stressed. And when you have the needed rest, you can rejuvenate and you can come back and bounce back. But when you are burned out, you are completely burned and there is nothing like coming back. Today, I want to share with you a story of Henry Ford. I mean, if you know Henry Ford, the popular creator who started with a Ford vehicle. Now, Henry Ford was born on a farm. He left the farm at the age of 16 and got a job as a mechanic in Detroit. Then he became a fireman in the Detroit Ellison Company and worked his way up until he became the chief engineer of that particular company. Now, Edison was just a big name to him. I mean, Edison then was his boss, and to him, yes, he's a big man. But when Thomas Edison was visiting the company, Henry Ford told himself that, look, if he ever got close enough to this famous inventor, he will ask him just one question. And Ford got the chance in 1898. He stopped Edison and said, Mr. Edison, may I ask you a question? He said, do you think gasoline is a good fuel source for motion or motor cars? Now, Edison had no time for Ford. He simply said yes and walked away. And that was it. But that answer that he gave turned Ford on. Henry Ford made a commitment. It was in 1909. 11 years later, he turned out the Tin Lizzie. Now, Tin Lizzie was the very first car that Ford came out with. It has a nickname, Tin Lizzie. Now, he took the criticism. I mean, everybody was criticizing him and all that, but he took all as a gentleman. I mean, adopted it and still move on. But during those 11 years, he worked and he waited and he waited and he worked. He experienced burnout, but never burnout. What have you done and for how many years? And at what level have you experienced a brownout? I know brownouts are temporary, but when you burn out, then of course you've had it and you are gone forever. But for 11 years, Henry Ford was on his major project, and he never had any burnout. And what he got was a brownout. Now, those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength, and that's one thing that you should know. That if whatever you are doing, you are able to embed the Lord into your doings, I'm telling you, there are going to be moments when you will brown out. But trust me, when you wait upon the Lord, there is no way that your brownout will turn into burnout. That's one thing that I want you to know. So those who wait upon the Lord, that's one critical angle that I want you to know. That waiting upon the Lord brings renovation, it brings transformation. It causes you to get out of your distress and out of your stress and every other thing. And you are able to come back renewed completely. Now, the Lord might strengthen you through some person or a chance meeting. It may come through someone God uses to encourage you. I know this is true because there have been times when I needed to be encouraged, and people have come my way and they have done that, quite well. And there have been other times when God used me to also give other people encouragement, but it all comes upon waiting. Now, remain in touch with God through prayer. It's only prayer that can help this thing to be. I want to tell you another story of another lady. I mean, most of you may have heard about Florence Nightingale. Yes, Nightingale. But do you know that she was born to wealth and social prominence? That woman was born into a wealthy family in London. That's in England. Now, this brilliant young woman from a socially rich background decided to do something quite differently from what she was born into. you know, from a wealthy family. She wrote in a diary somewhere around 1851 that at the age of 31, I see nothing that I desire today other than death. But when somebody starts speaking this way, it tells you that the person has surely and definitely have had a burnout. She was seeing nothing apart from that. How can you see nothing in this world of opportunity, in this world of meaningfulness, in this world of so many resources, and all you can see, is just death? How can you just talk in this way? I see nothing I desire today other than death. That's terrible. From somebody who has a rich social background, born into riches. But you see, she reviewed her life once again. Money, social position do mean nothing to her. Then she examined the possibilities. Said, if only I could help people. She feels that helping people will bring a lot of meaningfulness to her, to herself. If only I could help people. She wanted to be a nurse. Her mother and father were against that really vocation, because they feel, look, we are people of status. You can't be a nurse serving other people. You are supposed to be served. But she was willing to be ostracized. I mean, they said, I will do it no matter what you think, no matter who you think our family is. This is what I'm going to do, and I'm going head on to do it. So Nightingale, in actual fact, was able to progress and entered into nursing. Now, but the mother said something very interesting. She said, we are two ducks. I mean, what does she mean by that? She said, we are two ducks. That's my husband and I, and we've given birth to a wild swan. I mean, it's somebody. It's very interesting. But Florence Nightingale's biographer said that the mother was so wrong. For Florence was not a wild swan, but an eagle. I mean, you know the difference between a swan and an eagle. So when there was war in France, I mean, that was when Florence chose to go. I mean, possessed by demons, her family said, victims of nervous breakdown. She was ostracized. I mean, they feel that you don't belong here and you really have to leave us alone. Go and do whatever you want to do. Criticized, considered insane, and any other thing. But for 3 years, she waited and worked among the dying men, their blood, their amputated legs. She was showing mercy. She was helping people, making sure people who have been amputated during war, those that have been shot, those who have dilapidating legs and they were sick. That's what she wants to do. She wants to take care of people. You know, she came home 3 years later in 1859, and she wrote and published notes on how hospitals should be operated. And Florence is remembered today because of the great works that she did. She changed hospitals. You and I have the benefits of of a century or more later. I mean, you have the ability to change. You have the ability to bring transformation. But the key thing that I want to tell you is that wait upon the Lord in prayer, and He will renew a dream, and a brownout will give way to a light up. I don't know what you are waiting for. I don't know what you are going through, but this story really inspired me. It's a brownout are not necessarily a burnout. The fact that you are frustrated, the fact that you are tired, the fact that you feel you've done enough, these are brownouts. They are not burnout. So just take your time, pray and wait upon the Lord, and He will rejuvenate you and give you new ideas. It's terribly important that we hang on in the face of hope and never call a brownout a burnout. Don't ever call a brownout a burnout. If we do quit, right, we will later on look back and say, I realize now it was just a phase, just a period of time. If you quit, you realize that, look, not knowing this thing was just a passing cloud. Not knowing this thing was just a momentary thing. It's like a passing clouds that are just passing. They may drizzle, they may drop down some water, but I tell you, they don't last forever. Be careful. Be careful. It's terribly important that we hang on in the face of hope and never call a brownout a burnout. That is what kicks me. Let's hang on in the face of hope, and let us never call a brownout a burnout. Don't call a brownout a burnout. If we do quit, we will later on look back and say, I realize now it was just a phase, just a period of time, just a natural transition I was going through. I shouldn't have packed up. A lot of people have packed out of marriages. And after they have gone, they realize that their husbands are now doing very well, or their husband realize their women are doing very well. And then they say to themselves, I shouldn't have packed up. You should have stayed on a little while. Keep hope alive and keep praying, and God will turn your burnout into a lively, active life. I should have saved myself through it. When the kids were all little, you know, with all the diapers, that was an age. It will also pass. When the company was young and struggling, and I had to do my own secretarial and janitorial work, that was an era. Those times will not have lasted forever. Every institution, every individual, every job has its ages, passages, periods, eras. We have to be careful to hold on. Be very careful to hold on. When the brownout is only a brownout and not a burnout, the power will come back. I tell you, it is only a brownout, but it's not a burnout. When there is temporary overload on the emotional system, we must rest. Wait upon the Lord, and the new dawning will come. The most dangerous thing in the world is to make an irreversible decision or a negative decision during a burnout. An irreversible. You are so annoyed, you were temporarily frustrated, you were a little tired, and so you make an irreversible decision that this thing, we are not doing it again. Cancel the contract. Don't sell your real estate because there is no power in the building. Don't sell out because you don't have electricity. Once upon a time, electricity will come. Never cut down a dead tree in a dry season, because when the rain comes, it will bud again. Keep holding on. That is the encouragement I'm giving it to you today. Keep holding on. Don't let your brownout becomes your burnout. Brownouts are not burnout. They are a temporary transition that we go through. There are difficult times that may come to us, but I can tell you that these difficult times will not last forever. Tough times, they never last, but tough people do. Hold on in prayer. Stay and look up to the Lord. And whatever situation you are in now is just a temporary situation. Yeah, you don't have money, you don't have employment. Yes, you are being buffeted here and there. You owe so many people. It's a temporary situation. It's a phase that will that will pass away. Hold on to it, and you shall see the light at the end of the tunnel. So this video, I want to tell you that your burnouts are not your burnout. Hold on, a new season will surely come. Thank you for being with me, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.